I died choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the prison van swerved off the icy bridge into the black Chicago River below. Betrayed by the man I loved. Framed for a murder I didn't commit. My last thought was of that crying kid on the corner, his bare feet in the snow, and how buying him those damn sneakers with my last $20 was the one good thing I ever did right. But then the cold rushed in, and everything went dark. Until it didn't. I gasped awake in my shitty studio apartment on the south side, heart pounding like a jackhammer. The date on my cracked phone screen screaming October 15th, 3 months before the setup that ended me. I'd been given a do-over. A second shot at life. And this time, I wasn't playing nice. Revenge wasn't just on my mind, it was the only thing keeping me breathing. The mirror across the room showed my face, Mackenzie Hale, 28, with the same tangled brown hair, the same faint scar on my chin from a bar fight in college, the same eyes that now burned with a fire I hadn't felt since the day Derek proposed. Derek Voss, my fiancé in that other life. The golden boy lawyer who whispered sweet nothings while slipping the noose around my neck. He'd sold me out to his daddy's firm, Voss and Associates, to cover up their dirty real estate scams, evictions that turned into arsons, bribes that buried bodies. And me, I was the fall guy, the bleeding heart paralegal who stumbled too close to the truth. But that kid, that was the thread that unraveled it all. Little Jamal, sobbing on the corner of 63rd and Halstead, no shoes in the biting wind. His single mom OD'd the week before. I scraped together my last cash for those Nikes, thinking karma might finally cut me a break. Next day, his father, wait. No. Jamal didn't have a father. Or so I thought. The man who tracked me down wasn't blood. He was Victor Kane, the shadow kingpin pulling strings from the high-rises downtown, using street kids as bait for his recruitment traps. He saw my kindness as weakness, lured me into his web with a fake job offer, and boom, 6 months later, I was drowning in falsified evidence for a hit on one of his rivals. This time, I wouldn't bite. I slammed the phone down, the screen's glow cutting through the dim bulb overhead like a knife. My hands shook as I yanked open the closet, pulling out the old Cubs hoodie I'd worn that fateful day. The apartment smelled the same, stale coffee and regret, but everything felt sharper, like the world had cranked up the volume just for me. I had the memories, the receipts in my head, every email Derek forwarded to bury me, every late-night whisper from Victor about family business. They thought I was a nobody, a South Side girl scraping by on temp gigs. But now, I was a ghost with a grudge. And ghosts don't play by the rules. I stepped out into the October chill, the wind whipping off Lake Michigan like it wanted to peel my skin off. The L train rattled overhead as I hoofed it to the corner store for coffee, black. No sugar. The way I'd learned to drink it after the first betrayal. Back when Derek started canceling dates for work. My shift at the legal aid clinic didn't start till noon, but I couldn't sit still. Every tick of the clock was a countdown to the moment I'd see Jamal again. In my first life, I'd spotted him around 2 p.m., right after cashing my check. This time, I'd be there early, watch from across the street, map out Victor's move before he made it. The clinic was a buzz of fluorescent hell, immigrant families arguing over eviction notices, kids coloring on intake forms while their parents whispered about ICU raids. I clocked in, flashing a smile at Rosa, my boss, who eyed me like I'd grown a second head. You okay? Kenzie? Look like you've seen a ghost. I laughed it off, something brittle and foreign in my throat. If only she knew. I buried myself in case files, But my mind raced ahead. Victor Kane wasn't just some low-level hustler. He was the ghost in the machine of Chicago's elite. Voss and associates laundered his cash through foreclosed properties. And Derek was the pretty face sealing the deals. The murder they pinned on me? A rival developer who got too nosy. Torched in his own garage. I found the emails and signed. But the IP traces screamed Victor's penthouse. Derek planted them on my laptop during one of our romantic getaways.
Bastard.
By 1:30, I was antsy, clocking out early with a migraine excuse. The streets were alive with the usual chaos, cabs honking, vendors hawking bootleg DVDs, a preacher ranting about the end times on a milk crate. I crossed to the park at 63rd, heart slamming as I scanned the benches. There, under the sagging oak, a tiny figure huddled in a too-big jacket, feet wrapped in plastic bags against the damp leaves.
Jamal.
8 years old, all bones and big eyes, the kind that could break you if you let them. In my first life, I'd caved instantly. This time, I hung back behind a graffiti-tagged lamppost, breath fogging the air. He was crying, soft at first, then building to those gut-wrenching sobs that echoed off the brick row houses. No mom in sight, just the wind scattering candy wrappers like confetti from a funeral. I clenched my fists, nails biting palms. Walk away, Mackenzie. Don't get sucked in. But my feet betrayed me, carrying me closer until I was crouched beside him, murmuring, "Hey,
kid.
What's got you all twisted up?" He looked up, snot-streaked face crumpling further. My shoes. They broke. Mama's gone. And I can't. The words dissolved into hiccups. I glanced at my wallet. $18. Rent due tomorrow. Screw it. Revenge started with not being the mark. But kindness? That was my Achilles heel. The crack Victor exploited. I stood, pulling him up. Come on. We'll fix that. The Foot Locker on Halsted was a fluorescent shrine to consumerism. Racks of sneakers gleaming like holy relics. Jamal's eyes widened at the Nikes, basic black highs. Nothing flashy. These, he whispered, like they were diamonds. I nodded, swiping my debit card with a wince as the machine beeped approval. $16 gone. As we laced them up on the bench outside, him grinning for the first time, a shadow fell over us. A black Escalade purred to the curb, tinted windows rolling down slow. Out stepped a man in a cashmere coat, salt and pepper hair slicked back, smile sharp as a switchblade. Victor Kane. In my first life, he'd played the grateful uncle, handing me his card with a "We need good people like you at my foundation." Lies. All of it, bait for the trap. "Beautiful thing you did here," he said, voice smooth as bourbon. Eyes flicking from the kid to me like he was appraising livestock. Jamal lit up.
Vic.
Look what she got me. Victor ruffled his hair, but his gaze pinned me.
Mackenzie hale. Right?
Heard about you from the clinic. Name's Victor Kane. This boy's like family. Least I can do is buy you dinner. Thank you proper. My skin crawled. Memories flashing. That dinner leading to an internship, then Derek's introduction at a gala. Then the noose. This time, I forced a smile. Cold and calculated. Appreciate it, Mr.
Kane.
But I'm good. Just doing what anyone would. His laugh was low, probing. Anyone?
Nah.
You're special. Think on it. He slipped a card into my hand, embossed gold. Voss and Associates referral on the back, and peeled out, leaving exhaust in his wake. I watched the taillights fade, Jamal tugging my sleeve. Uncle Vic's nice. He helps Mama sometimes. If only you knew.
Kid.
I walked him to the group home 2 blocks over, promising to check in. But as I turned away, the card burned in my pocket like a live wire. Phase 1, engage. But on my terms. I'd take the bait just enough to get inside. Gather the dirt. Derek was next on the list. But Victor? He was the head of the snake. Back in the apartment, I fired up my ancient laptop, fingers flying as I cross-referenced names from memory. Voss and Associates, founded by Derek's old man, now run by a board of ghosts. Victor's foundation, a front for funneling dirty money into political PACs, buying off aldermen for land grabs. The murder victim, Elias Grant, torched in his Lincoln Park brownstone, had been digging into a development deal on the west side, one that would have displaced half of Little Village. I was the one who tipped him off anonymously in my first life, thinking it was righteous. Big mistake. They traced it back, and Derek volunteered me as the patsy. A ping email from an old contact at the clinic, forwarding a job listing. Voss and Associates, paralegal position, entry level, benefits.
Perfect.
I polished my resume, omitting the rage-fueled gaps, and hit send. By midnight, a reply. Interview tomorrow, 10 a.m. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling cracks like a roadmap to hell. Sleep came in fits. Dreams of the river's pull. Derek's smirk as the gavel fell. I love you, Kenzie. He'd lied in court. Tears crocodile perfect. This time, I'd make him choke on those words. Morning broke gray and unforgiving. The kind of Chicago dawn that promised snow by noon. I dressed sharp, borrowed blazer from Rosa, slacks ironed to a knife's edge, and caught the red line north. The car packed with commuters nursing hangovers and hustles. The loop loomed, glass towers stabbing the sky. Voss and Associates on the 42nd floor of the Hancock building. Security buzzed me up, the elevator humming like a dirge. The lobby was all marble and menace, receptionists with smiles that didn't reach their eyes. MS.
Hale.
Mr. Voss is ready.
Derek.
Of course it was him conducting. In my first life, he'd been charming, all dimples and Harvard drawl, sealing the deal over coffee afterward. This time, as the door opened to his corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the lake like a painting, he stood, extending a hand.
Tall.
Blonde. The kind of handsome that opened doors. Mackenzie. Pleasure. Victor Kane speaks highly of you. His grip was firm, eyes lingering a beat too long. I met it cool, pulse steady. All good things. I hope. Heard your firm's doing big things on the west side. We danced through the interview, my fabricated experience at legal aid, his nods at passion for justice. But underneath, I cataloged the photo on his desk of us from the gala in this timeline, yet to happen. The safe cracked open in my memory, holding the encrypted drive with Victor's ledgers. We could use someone like you, he said finally,
Leaning in.
Dinner tonight? To discuss. Details. The hook. I smiled, slow and sweet. I'd like that. The restaurant was Italian. Overpriced. In River North, candlelight and Chianti, the elite's confessional. Derek arrived late. Tie loosened. Spinning tales of climbing the ladder. I played along, laughing at his jokes, touching his arm like it meant something. But my mind mapped exits, recorded his slips. Victor's got vision. You know, changing the city, one block at a time. By dessert, his hand on mine, proposing the trial run at the firm. I nodded, whispering, "Show me everything." He grinned, oblivious. Hook, line soon, sinker. That night, alone, I broke into the clinic's database after hours. Old passcodes still worked, pulling files on Elias Grant's last case. Displaced families, arson reports buried as faulty wiring, Victor's prints all over. I emailed an anonymous tip to a blogger I remembered from the trial. Planting seeds. Small moves, but they itched under my skin. Was I becoming them? Ruthless? Scheming? The controversial part not. To burn them, I'd have to get dirty. Frame a frame up. Days blurred into a rhythm of deception. Mornings at Voss. Afternoons shadowing Victor's charity runs, delivering supplies to the group home. Always with Jamal beaming at my side. The kids stuck to me like glue, calling me Miss Kenzie, drawing pictures of us as superheroes. It twisted the knife. In my first life, he'd testified against me, coached by Victor into calling me the bad lady who hurt Mama. Lies. But kids' words stick.
Now.
I protected him fiercely, slipping him snacks, warning the home director about visitors. Victor noticed, his smiles tightening. You're a natural with the boy. Ever think about family? Derek pushed harder. Weekends away. Rings hinted at. I let it build. Gathering scraps. USB drives accidentally left in conference rooms. Overheard calls about the Grant cleanup. One night, after a firm party where champagne flowed like confessions, Derek drunk dialed from his car. "Babe, you won't believe this. Victor's tying up loose ends on that west side flip." Quiet like. I recorded it. Heart racing. Loose ends, code for bodies. The next day, I leaked it to the blogger. Anonymized. The post went viral by evening, Chicago corruption trending. Voss stock dipping. Panic rippled through the office Monday. Derek cornered me in the copy room, eyes wild. "You see that shit online? They're gunning for us." I feigned shock. Hand on his chest. "Us? What aren't you telling me?" He cracked. Spilling fragments, Victor's temper. The necessary sacrifices. Enough to piece the puzzle. The murder wasn't random. Elias had proof of Victor's bribes to the mayor, tied to Derek's father signing off. I was the witness they silenced. But revenge demanded more. The controversial call came that week, a tip from a Voss insider, me, posing as one to the feds. But twisted, I implicated a rival firm. Not Victor directly. Collateral damage. Innocents caught in the raid. Headlines screaming legal sharks busted. Morally gray? Hell yes. But it flushed Victor out, forcing a meet at his Gold Coast club. Smoke-hazed and velvet-roped. He slid into the booth opposite me, Derek fidgeting beside. "Mackenzie, you've got balls. I'll give you that." Stirring the pot. His voice was ice. I sipped my scotch. Steady. "Just justice,
Vic.
like you taught." Derek paled. "What the fuck?" Victor's laugh died. "She knows.
Son.
About Grant. About everything." The air thickened, Jamal's face flashing in my mind, innocent in this war. Derek lunged, but Victor waved him off. "Deal with it." As they rose, Victor leaned in. "Walk away." girl. Or the kid pays. The threat ignited it. I tailed them that night. Laptop hot with hacks. Old skills from community college cybersecurity club. Breached Victor's server. Ledgers.
Videos.
The Grant arson footage. Jackpot. But uploading to the cloud. Sirens wailed. Cops swarming the block. Feds in unmarked cars. My leak had boomeranged. They were raiding Voss. But Victor's goons were onto me. I bolted. Phone buzzing, Rosa. Kenzie. Turn on the news. Breaking. Voss and Associates. Scandal explodes.
Ties to mob.
Derek arrested. Victor vanishing. I hit the group home. Scooping Jamal as shouts echoed. Miss Kenzie. He clung. Tiny arms fierce. We fled to my apartment. Barricading as knocks thundered. Victor's men. Not cops. The siege lasted hours. Bullets pinging glass. My screams mixing with Jamal's. Controversial? I fired back, borrowed .38 from the clinic's shady volunteer, wounding one, the crack echoing my shattered soul. Dawn broke with SWAT breaching. Victor's empire crumbling in cuffs. Derek's call from lockup. Why?
Kenzie?
I loved you. Liar. I whispered. Hanging up. But the twist hit like the river's chill. Victor? In interrogation footage leaked later. Smirking at the camera. Ask her about the boy. Jamal's not mine, he's hers. Gave him up at birth. Southside Clinic. 2017. My world tilted. Memories flooded. The abortion I regretted. No, wait. The baby I surrendered. Too young. Too broke. Jamal was my son. Hidden by Victor as leverage. The ultimate betrayal. Derek knew. Used it to bind me. In the end, I got custody. The trials burying them all, life for Victor. Derek turning state's evidence for a lesser bid. Happy? In a scarred way. Jamal called me mom that first night. Shoes still pristine. But as I held him, the river's whisper lingered. Second chances come bloody. And revenge? It just makes you the monster who won. The aftermath was a haze of depositions and therapy sessions I skipped. The kind of bureaucratic quicksand that sucks you under if you let it. Jamal slept on my pull-out couch. His new sneakers kicked off by the door like talismans. While I paced the apartment, piecing together the fragments Victor had dangled like bait.
My son.
The word tasted foreign, bitter as the instant coffee I brewed at 3 a.m., scrolling through sealed adoption records I'd bribed a clerk to unseal. There it was, Mackenzie Hale, 20, scared college dropout, handing over a squalling bundle to a trusted family friend. Victor Kane, posing as the benevolent uncle, had engineered it all, scooping up the kid to groom him as a pawn, dangling him in front of bleeding hearts like me to test loyalties. And Derek? He'd known from the start. Our whirlwind romance is set up to keep me close. Compliant. I slammed the laptop shut, the crack echoing like a gunshot. Forgiveness wasn't in my vocabulary anymore. This was deeper than revenge. It was reclamation. The feds wanted me as a witness, painting me the hero whistleblower. But the headlines twisted it. Southside savior or scheming siren? Pundits on Fox debated my questionable tactics, that copy room hack, the rival firm smear, as if morality was a luxury I could afford. Controversial? Damn right. I'd torched innocence to smoke out the beast, and now the beast's ghost haunted me. Victor's trial loomed in federal court, a circus of suits and subpoenas, but he sat smug in MCC, lawyered up with Voss holdovers, spinning tales of my obsession. Jamal stirred, mumbling in his sleep, and I sank beside him, brushing curls from his forehead. He looked so much like the baby photos I'd burned years ago. Big eyes, button nose, the hale, stubborn chin. "Mom," he whispered, half dreaming. I froze, then nodded, throat tight.
Yeah. Kid.
Mom. That word unlocked something feral in me. A mother's rage sharper than any lover's scorn. No more half measures. I'd bury Victor so deep, his empire would choke on the dirt. The drive to MCC was a gauntlet, reporters swarming the visitor lot like vultures. Mics thrust through the rental car's window. MS.
Hale.
Was it worth it, framing rivals? Endangering a child? I flipped them off, tires squealing as I parked. Inside, the air was sterile, buzzers and metal detectors stripping you bare. Victor waited in the visitation room, orange jumpsuit clashing with his silver hair. But that smile, predatory, unbowed. Mackenzie. Or should I say, Mama Bear? Come to gloat. I slid into the chair, glass partition cold between us, phone receiver heavy. Gloat?
Nah.
Here to watch you squirm. He chuckled, low and knowing. You think this ends me? I've got friends in places you'd piss yourself to see. That raid? A hiccup. And the boy, your dirty little secret's out now. Papers love a family reunion twist. I leaned in, voice steel.
Jamal's mine.
Legally.
Blood.
All of it.
You're done.
Those ledgers I leaked? Every bribe. Every body, it's dominoes.
Beak.
Starting with the mayor's impeachment tomorrow. His eyes narrowed, the mask slipping. You were soft before. That shoe stunt, pathetic.
Now?
You're playing my game.
Girl.
Ruthless. Derek saw it, tried to warn me.
Derek.
The name twisted like a knife. I'd visited him once in county. Chain link and regret. His pleas for one more chance met with silence. But Victor dangled more. It didn't frame you alone. I pushed. Sure.
But you.
You were complicit. That anonymous tip to Grant? It started the fire, literally.
Lies.
Or half-truths. My gut churned. In the fever of my first life, I'd mailed that envelope, thinking it heroic. Unintended consequences. Elias dead. Me doomed. Controversial indeed. My justice birthed the monster. I hung up, storming out, but his words burrowed like ticks. Back home, Jamal waited with takeout pizza, construction paper cape draped over his shoulders. For the trial.
Mom.
You're the hero. I hugged him fierce, inhaling his shampoo scent, but doubt crept in. Hero? Or just another cog in the machine? Reborn to spin the wheel harder? The next weeks were war, testifying in court. Victor's lawyers painting me as vengeful harpy. A woman scorned with a fabricated sob story. Exhibits flashed, my adoption consent. Blurred baby pics. Whispers of unfit mother. The gallery murmured. Reporters live tweeting every tear I didn't shed. Climax built in the jury deliberation. Victor's friends activating. Anonymous threats scrawled on my door. Leave town or the kids next. Tires slashed on the rental. Jamal's school on lockdown after a tip about a bomb. I armed up, teaching him hide-and-seek spots in the apartment. My .38 under the pillow like a lover. Sleep evaded. Nightmares blending timelines. The river's drag. Victor's leer. Derek's betrayal kiss. One night, a call from an unknown. Hail? It's Elias Grant. Impossible, dead man. No. His brother. Voice gravel. Heard you're stirring shit. Elias left insurance tapes.
Docs.
But it's hot. Meet me. The meet was a dive bar in Pilsen. Murals bleeding into rain-smeared windows. Elias's brother. Marco, stocky.
Tattooed.
Eyes hollow. Slid a thumb drive across the scarred table. He trusted you.
Somehow.
Said you were clean. The files. Victor's voice on tape. Ordering the hit. Bank trails to Voss. Even my adoption forged. Victor posing as guardian to control the narrative. Jackpot. But booby-trapped, Marco's hands shook. They're coming for me. For you. Gunfire shattered the moment. Shattering glass. Patrons screaming as shadows burst in. Victor's crew. Faces masked. Bullets chewing the bar.
I dove? Shielding Marco.
The .38 barking back. 2 down. Acrid smoke choking. Jamal's face flashed. I couldn't die here. Not again. Run, I yelled. But Marco crumpled. Red blooming. Controversial choice. I grabbed the drive. Fleeing through the kitchen. Alley slick with garbage and rain. Sirens wailed distant. I hot-wired a delivery van, skills from a misspent youth. Peeling out as bullets pinged metal. Home. Jamal safe with Rosa. Oblivious. I uploaded the files to a dark web drop. Anonymous to WikiLeaks. By morning, global headlines. Chicago mob tapes rock City Hall. Victor's trial imploded. Jury swayed. His friends scattering like roaches. Derek flipped fully. Testifying in tears. She was everything. I was weak. Sentenced to 25. To life. Victor glowered as cuffs clicked. Mouthing, "This ain't over." But it was. Or so I thought. The twist deepened in quiet. Jamal's nightmare started. Drawings of the bad man in orange. Therapy revealed fragments. Victor's grooming. Stories of your real mom. The liar who left you. Scars I couldn't erase. And me, the reborn avenger. But hollow. I'd won the war. But lost pieces. Trust and kindness. The girl who bought shoes without strings. One evening, as snow blanketed the south side, Jamal laced his Nikes, worn now. Loved and asked, "Mom, why'd you come back?" I paused. The river's echo faint. To fix what broke us.
Kid.
All of it. We moved upstate. A fresh start in a suburb with actual lawns. My settlement from the city, buying a fixer-upper. Derek wrote from prison apologies. Please, but I burned them. Ashes scattering like old regrets. Victor died in a slip in the yard. Shivved by rivals I'd anonymously tipped. Poetic. Gray as my soul. Happy ending? For Jamal. Yes, soccer games. Bedtime stories. For me, a truce with the ghost inside. Rebirth taught me, revenge isn't closure, it's the price of surviving. And some debts, you pay forever. But wait, no. That was too tidy. The real twist lingered in a letter.
Postmarked MCC.
Smuggled out before Victor's end. You think you won? Mackenzie? The river calls everyone eventually. Watch the boy. Paranoia bloomed. Shadows in the yard. Calls with dead air. Was it over? Or just round 2? My second life the setup for a third death? I clutched Jamal closer. The Nikes by the door a reminder. Kindness started it. But cunning ended it. And in America's underbelly, cunning never sleeps. Suburbia was a lie wrapped in white picket fences. The kind of illusion that crumbles under a stiff wind off Lake Erie. We'd traded Chicago's grit for Elmwood's manicured lawns and minivan caravans, but the ghosts hitched rides anyway. Jamal thrived on the surface, straight A's at his new school. Pee Wee League goals that had parents cheering like he'd cured cancer, but at night, he'd wake screaming, fists pounding the air against the orange monster. I'd rock him then, humming off-key lullabies from my own fractured childhood, but my eyes scanned windows. Always. Victor's letter wasn't bluff, it was prophecy. 2 months in. The first sign, a black sedan idling at the cul-de-sac, tinted windows staring like blind eyes. I noted the plates, Illinois Vanity, VK1, before it ghosted away. The feds called it paranoia, post-traumatic whatever. MS.
Hale.
You've dismantled a syndicate. Enjoy the fruits. Fruits? A pittance settlement. NDAs gagging the full story. And a kid who flinched at suits. I took freelance consulting, pro bono for displaced families. Ironic payback, but the itch for deeper cuts grew. Derek's appeals dragged. His lawyer phoning collect. He wants to see Jamal. Foreclosure. Closure? I'd laugh if it didn't curdle my blood. Instead, I traced the sedan's owner through a shady PI app. Cash under the table. Registered to a shell corp. Victor Kane Holdings. Embers. Not ashes. Controversial decisions piled like cordwood. I could have run again, Canada border a day's drive, but flights smelled like surrender. The river's easy out.
No.
This time, I'd root out the rot. I reached out to Marco's widow.
Elena.
A fiery Puerto Rican widow in Pilsen who'd buried her brother-in-law with tamales and tequila toasts. Elias spoke of you, she said over burner phones. Voice thick with grief. The tapes, there's more. Hidden in a locker. Cicero. The meet was risky. Her eyes darting as we huddled in a taqueria booth. Steam from carnitas fogging the air. She slid a key. Engraved C, 47. Victor had reach. Even inside. He whispers. Cicero's storage wars were a concrete crypt. Units stacked like forgotten sins. I jimmied C, 47 at dusk.
Heart hammering.
The lock popping with a snick that echoed too loud. Inside. Bankers' boxes. Dust-choked. Labeled West Side Legacy. I hauled them to the van. Sweat beading despite the chill. And burned rubber home. Elmwood's quiet streets mocking my panic. The boxes spilled secrets, blueprints for arson hits, payoffs to cops, and buried deep a dossier on me. Photos from my college days, the adoption clinic, even grainy shots of baby Jamal. Victor's scrawl, leverage, Hale's weakness. But the kicker, a birth certificate variant, falsified to list Derek as father. Victor's masterstroke, binding me to his web through blood and lies. Rage boiled. White hot. I'd betted Derek thinking it fate. He'd known. Used it to gaslight. We're meant to be. Kenzie. Family. The betrayal layered deeper. A Russian doll of deceit. I copied the files to encrypted drives, mailing one to the U.S. Attorney, anonymous. Of course, then torched the rest in a backyard fire pit, flames devouring paper like absolution. But the sedan returned that week. Closer, parked outside Jamal's school during pickup. Engine idling as I waved him over.
Mom.
Who's that man? A silhouette. Broad-shouldered. Watching. I floored it. Weaving through traffic. Calling Elena. They're closing in. Her warning came frantic. Victor's lieutenant, Rico. Ex-cop. Loyal dog. Thinks you snitched the shiv.
Rico Morales.
Badge stripped for brutality. Now Victor's enforcer in the shadows. I dug public records, divorce filings, bar tabs, piecing a profile. Bitter. Broke. A daughter in juvie. Leverage. My turn. The controversial play. I drove to his ex's in Berwyn. A sagging duplex with toys in the yard. She answered wary. Curlers in hair.
Rico?
Haven't seen the bastard in months. But her eyes flicked to a side window. Curtain twitch. I slipped a note through the mail slot. Tell Rico. Drop the tail. Or Juvie gets a visit from feds.
Hale.
It worked. Sort of. The sedan vanished. But notes appeared, taped to my windshield. River's cold this time of year. Postcards from Chicago dives with Jamal's school photo clipped inside. Sleep became a luxury. I installed cameras. Taught Jamal code words for danger. The feds dismissed it. Residual threats. Standard. But I knew better. Rebirth sharpened instincts, turning me into a predator scanning for traps. Jamal's birthday anchored me, 9 now. A cake from the bakery with extra frosting. Balloons bobbing like defiant flags. He wished for no more bad dreams, blowing candles with cheeks puffed. I smiled, but inside, the dossier burned. Derek as father. I confronted him via video link from county, his face gaunt on the screen. Tell me, I hissed. Jamal napping in the next room. The baby. Did you know? He crumbled, tears tracking. Victor. He told me after. Said it'd keep you loyal. I wanted to tell you. Kenzie. God. I did. Lies layered on lies. Rot in there, I said, cutting the feed. But doubt wormed. Was redemption possible? Even for him? The climax brewed in a storm, literal. Thunder rattling Elmwood shutters as rain lashed like accusations. Elena called. Rico's moving.
Hitting the widow me tonight.
Back up. No time for cops. I grabbed the .38. Kissing Jamal's forehead. Aunt Rose is coming. Be good. And hit the road. Wipers slapping frenzy. Pilsen glowed slick under sodium lights. Elena's walk-up a beacon. I parked a block off, creeping through alleys, puddles splashing silent. Voices inside, Rico's growl. Where's the key?
Puta?
Hale's dirt. A thud. Elena's cry. I kicked the door. Gun leveled. Back off. Rico. He spun. Paunch, straining his shirt. Piece drawn lazy.
Elena Hoodled.
Lips split. Hero complex. He sneered. Finger twitching. The room shrank, peeling wallpaper. Virgin Mary icon watching judgmental. Controversial. I didn't shoot to kill. Aimed low. Knee shattering with a wet crack. He howled. Dropping. Elena scrambling for his gun. Why you? I pressed.
Boot on his chest.
Victor's dead. He spat blood. Legacy.
Bitch.
He named you heir in the will. Joke's on you. The empire's yours to crash.
Will?
The boxes hadn't mentioned. Rico laughed through pain. Read it. You're the queen now or the fall. Cops swarmed minutes later. Elena's 911. Rico zip-tied and cursing. But his words echoed. Heir? Victor's twisted gift. Saddling me with shells and sins. The feds impounded it all. But leaks hit papers. Whistleblower inherits mob fortune. Conflict? Back home. Dawn breaking watery. Jamal curled against me. Did you win, Mom? I nodded. But victory soured. The twist unfurled in lawyer mail. Victor's codicil. Probated quiet. Assets to the woman who bought my heart. With my name inked bold. Not love, control.
Debts.
Lawsuits. Whispers of buried bodies tied to me now. Controversial endgame. Dissolve it all. Donate to victims' funds. But stains linger, IRS audits. Old associates circling for scraps. I burned the will symbolically. Ashes in the wind. Choosing peace over poison. Derek's last letter. Raise him right.
I'm sorry.
Trashed. Jamal's laughter in the yard, chasing fireflies. Nike's mud-caked. That's the happy. But at night, the river murmurs. Rebirth's curse. Live twice. Die wondering if it was enough. Peace was a fragile truce. Bought with vigilance and vanilla wafers. The kind Jamal devoured while quizzing me on multiplication tables. Elmwood summers stretch lazy. Block parties with potato salad and passive-aggressive neighbor stares, but undercurrents pulled. Victor's inheritance, a riptide I couldn't outswim. The feds cleared most shells, deeming them tainted, but tendrils snaked out. A foreclosure notice on a West Side tenement I'd never seen. Tenants pleading calls. MS.
Hale.
They say you're evicting us. Lies. But the press feasted. Reformed mob queen turned slumlord? I lawyered up. Pro bono crusaders fighting the smears. But doubt festered. Was this karma's boomerang? My gray deeds rebounding? Jamal sensed it. His questions sharpening. Mom? Why do people yell your name on TV? I'd deflect with ice cream runs to the parlor. But the boy's intuition cut deep. 9 going on 90. He'd sketch our old life from dreams, Chicago streets. Orange jumpsuits, then crumple them. Eyes fierce. We stay here. Safe. His resolve mirrored mine. Forged in the same fire. But safety? An illusion. Shattered one August dusk when the doorbell chimed. Not the mailman's shuffle, but a firm rap. I peered through the peephole. Derek. Gaunt in chinos and polo. Fresh from parole. Early release for cooperation. Heart stuttered. I'd tracked his hearings. Brooding silent for denial. Kenzie, he called soft. Voice through wood.
Please.
Just talk. Jamal upstairs. Headphones on. Oblivious. Controversial instinct. Let him in. Hear the devil's pitch. Or shoot through the door. End the echo. I chose words. Cracking it chain-linked. 5 minutes. No more. The kitchen table, scarred from Jamal's crafts, became confessional. Derek's hands trembled on coffee mug, knuckles scarred from yard fights. I got out last week. Clean slate, they say. His eyes blue.
Pleading, serked mine.
I know what I did.
Victor.
He owned me.
Kenzie.
The baby, Jamal, he twisted it. Made me think controlling you was love. Bullshit. But laced with truth. I'd seen the ledgers. His signatures on the forgeries. Love. I scoffed. Voice whip. You watched me drown. Framed me for murder. He winced. Tears welling. I testified. Put him away.
For you.
For us.
Us.
The word ignited old flames. Treacherous warmth. In my first life, I'd fallen hard, South Side girl dazzled by loop polish. His promises of escape. This rebirth, I'd armored up, but crack showed. What do you want? Derek? Absolution. He leaned,
Desperate. A chance.
with Jamal. He's mine too. Blood or not. Lie DNA tests post-trial cleared that, but the plea hung. Paternal ache I denied myself. I stood, chair scraping.
Out. Now.
He left a card, counseling center, his new gig as reformed offender mentor, and faded into twilight. The encounter unmoored me. Nights tossing as river dreams resurfaced. Not death, but what-ifs. What if I'd walked away pre-shoes? No Jamal. No betrayal. But no son. Rebirth's gift curse. Clarity on costs.
Elena visited weekends.
Bringing empanadas and war stories. Her laugh-a-bomb.
Mia.
Men like him? Poison ivy pretty, but itches forever. She knew. Rico's trial wrapped. Him singing for reduced time. Spilling Victor's remnants. The Empire's dust, she said, but warned. Dust storms blind you. Climax crested in September. Leaves turning traitor red as a package arrived, no sender. Brown paper crinkled. Inside, a single Nike. Jamal's size.
Soles leshed.
Note in Victor's copperplate. Shoes wear out. So, do second chances. Panic clawed. I swept the house. Cameras looping frantic. Jamal found me barricaded in the pantry. Mom? What's wrong? His hug grounded. Small but steel. Bad dreams back. I lied. But it was real. Rico's crew. Or Victor's ghosts. Circling. I called the feds. Got platitudes. Then Derek, impulse. Controversial, as in. They're coming. Help. He arrived in minutes. Face ashen. Shotgun from his truck. What do you need? We fortified. Boarded windows. Jamal in the basement with flashlight forts. Night fell heavy. Crickets mocking silence till tires crunched gravel. Headlights swept. 3 shadows disembarking. Rico's remnants. Tats and menace. Hail. Hand over the deeds. Or, the kids next. Derek fired warning shots. Buckshot shredding mailbox. I flanked. .38 steady. Whispering to Jamal through vents. Stay low. Baby. The siege dragged. Molotovs shattering porch lights. Our return fire splintering their van. Controversial heartstopper. Derek took a graze. Blood-soaking shirt. But charged. Tackling the lead goon. Run.
Kenzie.
Get Jamal. I did. Scooping my son. Bolting for the neighbors. 911 dispatched. Siren swelling. Cops swarmed. Perps cuffed. Rico's name invoked in confessions. He sent us. Said you stole the throne. Derek in ambulance. Pale but breathing. Met my eyes. Worth it. I nodded.
Grudging.
Yeah. The raid netted evidence. Victor's hidden vaults. My inheritance, a Trojan horse of forgeries meant to drag me under. Feds unraveled it.
Elena testifiì in fierce.
Twist landed soft. In hospital waiting room, DNA rerun. Courtesy of Derek's insistence. Confirmed. No relation. But in the folder, a letter from Victor's effects. To me, you were the daughter I never had. The shoes? My test. You passed too well. Burn it all. Or become me. Choice crystallized. I did. Publicly press conference. Deeding remnants to community trusts. Jamal beaming beside. Mom's a hero, he told reporters. Nike scuffed proud. Derek healed. Fading to his mentoring. Our talks civil, co-parenting ghosts. No more. I loved you. Wrong, he admitted once.
Porch swing creaking.
Knew it too late. I forgave. Not for him, but me. Rebirth's lesson. Holding hate drowns you twice. Jamal grew. College-bound dreams whispered. Our bond the real empire. Ending? Happy. Scarred American. Barbecues with Elena. South Side visits sand shadows. The river a distant memory. But on quiet nights, I lace old sneakers, feeling the pull. Second lives teach, betrayal scars. But kindness, twisted or true, laces us back. And in the heartland's hum, that's victory enough.